So let's talk about how to get more time in your day and how to get more out of your life. So listen, I know I always hear the sort of three most common problems I hear from people. I just don't have enough time. I don't have enough money, and I just can't see. I just don't seem to have enough energy. So how many can relate to that? Just type in one in the chat in the comments here if you're watching or on the replay. Same thing. If you're watching the replay, just pretend you're here with me now. Type one in the comments if you just go, I just don't seem to have enough time. Just type one in for that. If you're not shy, type two in if you keep kind of going, I just can't afford it. I just don't have enough money. Can't afford it. I'd like to actually eliminate those words from your vocabulary, and you can, and then type in three if you kind of feel like I just don't have enough energy. In fact, you might type in one, two, three. You might fall into all those categories. And I want to talk about some of those things today. Hey, Rez, good to see you coming on. Thanks for joining us. All right. So when people say, I just don't have enough time, I smile warmly and I'm kind of chuckling myself because I used to say that. And in a lot of respects, it's just kind of a habitual set of words that you picked up, that you adopted from other people, that I just don't have enough time. Now, as most of you know, I wrote my book. It's called Mistaken Identity. It's a guide to letting go of a past that's holding you back. It's not just about your identity and this mistaken identity that you have of yourself and how you feel of yourself. It also contains really three, I call the three essentials that you need to understand. And so as it relates to your time management, your use of time, etc., it all comes down to your identity. So you were programmed at a very young age to operate a certain way and do things a certain way. If you went to school for something, you were educated to do things a certain way. And so part of your identity is the way that you operate. Okay. And so in my book, what I try to do is get people to understand, okay, first off, there's three essentials. One is you have to understand this whole mistaken identity issue. Okay. Because pretty much everybody I've ever met is mistaken about how they see themselves to some degree or another, to a large extent. And you have to understand, okay, what is this mistaken identity and how did I get it? And how is it controlling my life and my results? And it is. The second part is I broke the book down to three parts: learn, unlearn, and relearn. So first we got to learn. Okay, how do we learn to think and act the way that we do, and how do we learn to believe the things that we believe to be true even when they're not? What were we? How were we taught? What the MO, our modus operandi? How we operate a certain way. Where do we get that, right? And a lot of it does not serve you. And so in the second part of the book, then you have to unlearn that. And so today I'm going to talk to you about time, and I'm going to try to get you to unlearn the way that you're operating because you don't have enough time, or you don't have enough money, or you don't have enough energy. I want to address that. And then we have to relearn, okay? And we have to relearn and take a different approach and modify some of the beliefs we have. The only way you can modify the beliefs you have is if you evaluate the beliefs that you have. And so that's what I do with people. So primarily I work with people like you, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business leaders, managers in companies are leading other people, influencers that are leading people. A lot of influence out there that are lost, and they were led astray, and they're out there influencing a lot of people, and people are following them. I always say, if you feel lost, stop following so many people. Anyway, I put this book together for a number of reasons, but as it relates to today's lesson, we really have to understand how our identity, how our image of ourselves is looking at our abilities and our use of time. Okay, so I want to kind of come at you from that framework. So first off, we all have the same gift. You have to start looking at your time as a gift. Okay. If you're watching right now, you're live. If you're watching the replay, you've been gifted 24 hours of time today. And you usually get about 18, maybe to 20, maybe 16 to 18 hours of those 24 hours is you're awake. Generally, you probably need around 6 to 8 hours sleep. So, 16 to 18 hours, you have this gift of being alive. You're alive and you have this gift of time. And it's kind of like in my book, I talk about you get these credits, right? And so you're credited with 18 hours, 16, 18 hours of awake time, and you get to do whatever you want with that time. And so when people say, I don't have enough time, I said, you have the same amount of time that I have. We all have the same gift. We all get an opportunity to wake up this morning, do our best today, do our work, help and serve others, support other people, create, produce, make the world a better place. We all get a chance when we wake up in the morning, and then you do your best throughout the day. And then when you're tired, you plop into bed and you go to sleep. And, sometimes maybe now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. And so before you go to bed, maybe you do this, maybe you pray that you get another shot at it tomorrow. So I really want you to change your mind with that concept first. All right. We all have the same amount of time. Okay. The problem is how you're using your time or these credits. Okay. And so a lot of people, I hear all the time, I just don't have enough time. For example, if you've seen the Facebook group, we just announced our next reset product. We have 3 reset products. We have reset where you go through the book. It's on your own, and then you get a couple of one-on-ones with me throughout that 6-week process. There's a reset VIP. You go through the same process on your own, but now you're doing it with me. We meet every week one-on-one. And the third product in our reset category to help you reset your identity, reset your self-confidence, reset your self-image, reset your life, your results, your business, all that stuff. And we do it in the form of what's called the Reset Retreat, where I'm live every day with you, 5 days a week for 6 weeks, going through the book first. And then I spend another 6 weeks with you once a week to install an accurate, healthy self-image that's in line with your purpose, your goals, and your plans. And you can't actually just make up a self-image to get to a goal. It doesn't work that way. So a lot of people, they set goals and they don't even really know if they're in fact even that person. They just pick these goals out of the air, and then they try to create a self-image and they don't really get very far. They don't achieve their goals. So what I learned the hard way, the long way, a very simple lesson that I made really difficult was that if you just get rid of your mistaken identity or this inaccurate image of yourself, then you can replace it with a new one, and then you embark on your goals. Anyway, this reset retreat, forgive me, I went on there. We meet every day, 5 days a week, 6 weeks in a row. And when I tell people that, they go, like, every day, like, for 45 minutes a day, like I have no time for that. And I laugh, because the fact is you do have the time for it. You're just using your time elsewhere. You're spending your credits elsewhere. And I'll bet you that you're wasting a lot of time. I know you're wasting a lot of time, just like you waste money, and so we've got to pay attention to how we spend our time. Where is your time going? People go, I don't know where the time goes, and all of a sudden the day is over. And so we want to get focused and productive and selective about where we spend our time. Donna, good to see you here. Donna's just started the reset. Congratulations. I can't wait to hear how it goes with you and work with you. Hannon, hey, how are you? Good to see you here. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about a few things around this whole issue of time. Okay, so um, I always hear it. I'm talking to leaders, entrepreneurs, people trying to get it just like you, and they always say their biggest roadblock. I hear it over and over again. I just don't have enough hours in the day. And like I said, I just kind of smile and laugh. And there is a better way to use your time. So let's take a look at maybe where you're wasting your time. You're probably wasting your time trying to do too many things at once. Um, we got locked in the idea that we can multitask. You can't really multitask at all, not really from a mindset perspective. You can have a lot of things on the go, but you have to understand your mind can only focus on one thing at a time. And so people that think multitasking is effective and it's not, you end up with what's called attention fragmentation. Your attention is fragmented because you're hopping all over the place. You're on your phone, you're on your email, you're jotting some stuff down. Like I'll be on a call with somebody, my team, for example. The other day we were talking about something, and with a client yesterday too. We were chatting, and I said, let me just take a couple notes. And so they kept talking. I said, can you do me a favor? Can you just let me finish my notes first before you start talking? Because I don't want to lose what I wanted to write down, right? And so I'm very cognizant of being able to pay attention and focus on one thing at a time. So I can't listen to you and write down my thoughts at the same time. So that's one of the things is that if you're trying to do too many things at once, if you're trying to multitask, if you're focusing on a bunch of things, if you got a to-do list with 20 items on it, and you're looking up and down the list, and you're here, there, all over the place, you're not actually using your mind properly. That's not how your mind actually works. Okay, so you've heard me time and time again tell you, your mind is a machine. Okay, it's a goal-seeking machine. It's just like the GPS on your phone. You can't put two addresses into the GPS at the same time and follow two sets of directions and two roads at the same time. You can only go down one road at a time. You can only focus on one thing at a time. And so we have to start practicing just working on one thing at a time until it's done. Or we can't go any further with that one thing, and then we put it over here, and then we go to the next thing, and you just cycle your way through the day. Real quick, I'll tell you a story. Anybody heard about the $25,000 idea? And I use it. Here's a little example of it. There's only 4 things on here, but usually there's no more than 7. I have 7 lines on my little Post-it note. I've got 4 here right now. And the $25,000 idea was a management consultant named Ivy Lee sat down with Charles Schwab, who was the right-hand man of Andrew Carnegie, who was one of the richest men in the world. He's the guy that influenced Napoleon Hill to write Think and Grow Rich and mentored him. And so Schwab, Carnegie's right-hand man, sitting down with Ivy Lee and said, "Hey, can you help me?" And I said, "Well, what do you need help with?" He says, "Well, I've got to get more out of our managers. We've got to become more productive." And Lee says, "I can help you with that." He said, "Have you got a pen?" And Schwab says, "Sure, I got a pen." So he pulls out a pen and a piece of paper. He said, "I want you to write down, I want you to think about your goals. And I want you to write down the 6 most important things that you can think of that you need to do to get to that goal." So Schwab writes down 6 things. So, all right, now what I want you to do is I want you to take those 6 things and I want you to put them in order of priority, 1 being the most important, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in sequence. So Schwab does that. And then Lee says to me, he said, "What I want you to do is before you go to bed at night, I want you to look at those 6 items. Because your mind will go to work on it while you're sleeping. And then tomorrow morning, I want you to get up and I want you to work on those 6 things, one thing at a time. Number 1 first, just go as far as you can, complete it, or go as far as you can, stop, and then work on number 2. He said, chances are you'll probably never get through all 6 items every day. He said, but you'll be way more focused and way more effective. You'll be focusing on the most productive things. And you'll get way, way more done than you can imagine. Well, Schwab said, "What do I owe you for this?" And Lee said, "Well, you use it for a couple of months with your managers, and you send me a check for what you think it's worth." Okay. This is in like the 1930s. right? And Schwab sent Ivy Lee a check for $25,000. That's called the $25,000 idea. So you might want to incorporate that and take a different approach to how you plan your day. So that's what I think is a great idea. So that's what I do. I look at, listen, I've got a large laundry list. I've got actually 75 items in my project list of to-dos under different categories and different projects and different strategies with deadlines on them, estimated deadlines. But I go on there and I look at them, okay, what are my 6 most important things that I need to do today? And then that's what I work on. So when I'm working with you, if you're a client of mine, so I work with people on 2 fronts. One, of course, is helping you overcome your mistaken identity, letting go of your past and all the crap from it that's holding you back. And I do that through the book, and I do that through the Reset course, which uses the book to reset your identity, your poor self-image. And then most of my people I work with, they're solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, leaders. And so I work with them on my coaching program called Mind Your Business. So I work with individuals both on a one-on-one basis and group basis, where I'm mentoring you to mind your business properly. I'm going to give you some tips at the end here, just some simple ways to mind your business, mind your mind better, and mind your business better so you can be more effective. You're probably spending a lot of time and you're busy wasting time or spending time making others happy at the expense of your own goals. So a lot of people, because of our self-image and our identity, how we feel about ourselves, how we were treated when we were young, we have too much of a desire for validation, confirmation, approval. So a lot of people, they go, I feel like I'm a people pleaser, and they're so busy pleasing others. Why? Because they feel inferior, and so this is a way to try to make themselves feel better about themselves. Some people are locked into the idea, well, I'm service oriented, I'm a servant type entrepreneur, and that's great. That's great that you're serving people, but not at the expense of you. So you also spend too much time worrying about what other people are thinking about you, and you don't really put a whole lot of priority on you. You put all your priorities on pleasing other people because you're worried what people think of you, and you do spend a lot of your time and energy wasting time and energy worrying about that. You also do things for other people that they can do on their own. So I talk to parents a lot, and these days more than ever, young people are very, very challenged. Parents are very, very challenged with the challenges their young people are facing. And I talk to a lot of young people as well when I'm talking to the parents. Sometimes I say, let me talk to your kid. Too many parents are doing too much for their kids. Whenever you do something for somebody else that they're able to do, you actually weaken them. All right. So you're cooking for your kids, you're washing your kids' clothes, you're driving them all over the place, you drive them to school, you pick them up from school, you're doing all these things. You would never put them on a bus. I mean, why would you? We do all these things for our children. And that's one of the problems with your identity. Your mistaken identity has you convinced that that's what you're supposed to do. I was talking to a person I know that I'm working with on their business, and they were talking about mom and dad, and just dad, the way he operates, the way he views money, and so he can go out and spend money, do whatever he wants, and he does that, and then he gives his wife an allowance, right? Allows her to have some money. And she gets a little bit of money. And whenever she spends a little bit of money, dad's always giving her hell for spending even a little bit of money, even though she's allowed. It's an allowance, So her and I, we were laughing about mom and dad, and we're just kind of shaking our heads like, oh my God, it's so crazy. The belief systems that we're locked into. So you're probably doing things for other people. There's a great little book called The 1 Minute Manager. If you're managing people, if you have people on a team, it'd be a great little book to read. It's probably not even a 1/4 inch thick, maybe about 3/8 thick. It's not really thick book. It's kind of like, here's a little book, U Squared. It's about this thick, okay? There's only 36 pages in this book. Anyway, 1 Minute Manager, Kenneth Blanchard's the author. And he talks about 1 minute coaching, 1 minute praise, 1 minute reprimand, 1 minute coaching. Well, he got together with a guy from a time management productivity perspective, another author, and they wrote a book called The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. And the other author's name, I can't remember his name, but he wrote a book about how we have all these monkeys on our back, problems, right? And as a manager, as a parent, as a leader, anybody that's dependent on you or is dependent even when they're not supposed to be, they come to you with their problems and you go, leave it with me. Let me think about it. And so basically they hand you their monkey and you put their monkey on your back. And so the 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey is basically teaching you how to keep the monkeys off your back and put the monkey on the back of who it belongs to. So don't take on other people's problems. So you're probably spending too much time doing things for people. Listen, if you're a parent, you might not like this, but I've been doing my laundry since probably 8 years old, I think, maybe 9. I was doing dishes, vacuuming, cutting the grass, walking. Like I was, now I grew up in a terrible situation. But what my mom made me do wasn't really terrible. It made me very self-sufficient and independent. In fact, I think the gift my mom gave me, although she was very violent and abusive towards me, the gifts that she gave me made me strong and independent, so I could actually survive in that difficult situation. And then the other way, the big way you're wasting most of your time is you're spending too much time dwelling in the future or dwelling in the past. Okay. And so, like I said, we all have been given this gift today, Tuesday, October the 17th. We've been given this gift of today. Okay. And we get to use this day any way that we like. And today, if you're lucky, cross your fingers, knock on wood. If you're lucky, you get to dwell in the whole day today. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you get to dwell in today. And too many people are dwelling on the past and dwelling on the future because they're worried about what the future looks like. And they spend way too much time doing that. And I want you to think about that. Think about how much time, in fact, for fun, just put in the chat here, if you don't mind, just an estimate in hours. How many hours would you estimate you're wasting daily where you are thinking about the past or worrying about your future? I'll give you an example. And listen, I'm not completely immune to this either. I fall victim to fear and doubt as well. I woke up the other night at 3 o'clock in the morning, and from 3 to 5:30, I was trying to go back to sleep. I knew I should have got up, and so I could have got up because I was pretty much up since 3 a.m. till the time I actually got out of bed. Even when I was laying there, I'm thinking, get up, Doug, because you're not going to fall back to sleep. Well, I wasted probably 3 hours of awake time trying to get myself back to sleep. You see what I mean? So just think about how many hours you're wasting daily where you're worried about the future. Just something I want to share with you. If you know me, you know about this. I read a little devotional each day. It's a little book called Jesus Calling. It's a beautiful little book. Each day is a little one-page message, and it's basically the author wrote it as if Jesus is talking to me, giving me advice. And the beautiful thing about this book, and the beautiful thing about some things in the Bible, it's a great self-help book for mindset. Like, Jesus really understood mindset, better than anybody, obviously. Anyway, I read this every day, and ironically, there's always these days where I open up and it's exactly the message that I need to hear. And I didn't plan it this way, but I thought, I have a feeling today's devotional is going to help me, helping you today, right? And so, sure enough, I open it up October 17th, and he says, anxiety is a result of envisioning the future without me. Now think about that. We all have our spirit. Okay, we're spiritual beings. We have the spirit in us, our own spirit, right? And if you're a Christian and you believe in this, anxiety is a result of envisioning the future without me. It's kind of like, imagine envisioning the future without your children. Imagine envisioning the future without your spouse. Imagine envisioning the future without your best friend or your dog. If you envision the future without something that's really important to you, it's going to create anxiety. Okay. Now, he said, if you must consider upcoming events, so obviously we have to consider what's coming up, and we do have to make plans and preparations and all that stuff. But he said, if you must consider upcoming events, then follow these rules. He said, do not linger in the future, because your anxieties sprout up like mushrooms when you wander there. Now think about that. Okay. If you wander into the future in your imagination, and you linger there, and you dwell there, right? So I want you to think of this word dwelling. Write the word dwelling down. Okay. So you're either dwelling on the past, or you're dwelling and lingering in the future, worrying about how it's going to unfold and what's going to happen. And anxiety starts to sprout up just like mushrooms when you spend too much time wandering around there. Think about how much time you spend wandering around in the future, and the anxiety that it creates. And then, because the anxiety that you're creating, you're wasting more time, because some of you have yourself so wound up in knots, you're so anxious, you're so scared, you're so worried that you're very unproductive. And you can't really think straight. You go, I got to go lie down. I need a nap. I got to go to bed early. I got to sleep in. I got to call in sick. Most of you, whether you know it or not, and whether you like it or not, most of you are actually creating your own anxiety. And then, because of how that makes you feel, you end up having to use time to recuperate from the time you spent lingering in the future worrying about it. Now you got to waste even more time just dealing with that. Okay. So we really got to get that. We really got to get this straight. Where we want to dwell optimally is in today. Okay. Just focus on, you want to, first thing in the morning, and I'll share a little tip sheet with you, some of the things that I do. First thing in the morning, you want to get up, and the very first thing you want to do is, while your mind is quiet, is you want to start pointing your mind to your target. Where are you going today? Not what are you doing today? Not doing. Okay. Where are you going today? Which is basically, today's journey leading you to the life that you want, so you can get more out of life. And then you look at these. You look at these 6 items, okay? And that is kind of gives you your to-do list for today. These are the most important items for you to focus on today. And then you just get in your car, your vehicle, not literally, could be literally, but you just get in the vehicle that's carrying you towards your goal, and you just do your best throughout the day to get there, okay? So that would be a good thing to adopt. I'm going to give you a few little tips here in a few minutes. So the other thing, we got to change our mind about time. Again, remember, you have this kind of modus operandi. You were taught to operate a certain way and do things a certain way. It was all, you were trained. You were trained by maybe some unqualified trainers. Parents, teachers, adults. Maybe they weren't qualified to teach you how to operate. You just operate the way they told you to operate, and that's kind of the way that you're rolling along. So let me just share something with you here. For example, when I'm working with you on what I call mind your business, one of the things I have people do is I get them to take a look at where they spend their time. Okay, and they just kind of do a little assessment. Here's an example. Different categories, this person, how much time they spend honing their skills, getting better at what they do, developing their mindset and their health, working on the business and their career, working in the business, prospecting, volunteering, and a bunch of non-productive actions. So this is kind of an example of somebody, how they spend their day. And so I have you actually do your own assessment. So imagine if I spent, a week with you and I just did a data collection. I observed where you spend your time. Okay. And I would keep a record. And at the end, I would be able to produce a report like that and go, hey, Donna, this is what your days and weeks look like. This is where you're spending your time. And so it'd be a good idea for you to take a look at where you're spending your time. And again, you can't change something unless you evaluate something. So I have you evaluate, what are you currently doing? And then I have you go back to it again and go, what do I want to be doing? And so you basically build your own new schedule of time blocks of where you spend your time. We even have I have a little tool where I show you how to kind of set up your day and your week and your month, so you have a more productive and an effective schedule. So that might be something that you might want to do. But the bottom line, if you want to get more time out of your day, you can't. Okay. There is only so much time, but you can get more out of your day, and you can definitely get more out of your life if you start to use your time more wisely. And what you really got to do, and it takes a bit of discipline, takes a bit of repetition. When you work with me, I'm really on you to really get you focused, because I don't want to see you waste your life. I don't want to see you waste your time, because time is so precious. And there's better ways to use your time. And I think we have to be honest with ourselves, and what are our non-productive actions. Scrolling through social media. I have a few people I know, and it seems like they're messaging me all the time. And I think if they're messaging me a lot, they must be doing the same thing with other people. So scrolling through social media, whatever you do. Now, don't get me wrong. I think all of it, you have to have leisure time. Okay. My leisure time is generally spent. I love watching movies. Movies inspire me. Movie give me lessons. So all kinds of things. For the longest time, I love watching movies. So that's my leisure time. Or reading. Reading is my part of my leisure time. Another part of my leisure time is thinking, which I'll explain in a minute. Okay. And leisure time's fine. We all need to have some leisure time, but I do want you to think about how you're spending your days and where you're wasting your time. You just have to look at, is what I'm doing now, is this productive and effective to help me get where I want to go? And you have to remember, we're very habitual, and it can be very difficult for some to change their habits. There's a book came out, Atomic Habits. It's been a bestseller for a long time. It doesn't really tell you how to form habits. Give you tips, but the fact is, what's missing in that book, and a lot of people talk about how to form habits, is you got to really understand Emerson's quote. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Of what use to make heroic vows of amendment?" So what's the point of promising to make these heroic changes, starting tomorrow? No, actually, I'll wait till Monday. Starting Monday, I'm going to stop doing that. And then starting January 1, not right now, I'll wait till January. Starting January 1, I'm going to start doing this. What's the point of making those heroic vows of amendments to change when it's the same old lawbreaker is making them? That's you. That's me. Right? And so what's the point of making these promises to change if the lawmaker doesn't change? You're the lawmaker. You're the one that lays down the law for your life and how you live it day to day. And that's part of what's in my book, Mistaken Identity. We've got to change the lawmaker, right? Your ego is running your life. The way you were taught to think and approach your days and to solve your problem, it's all learned. And so I always just say to people, listen, if you're struggling in any area of your life, if you're dealing with, internal conflicts within yourself that cause, problems in your life and cause problems with your, your health, or, as I said earlier, people go, I just don't have any energy. And I kind of laugh because everybody has the same amount of energy available to them. It's endless. There's an endless supply of it. I mean, wherever you're sitting, somewhere, if you look around your room, there's an outlet, there's a plug in the wall that feeds power, electricity, energy. The whole world is made up of energy and matter, right? Like I'm transmitting this message wirelessly to you through the ether, right? Through energy. Now I'm using a device, the computer and the phone, which is matter. So it's a physical thing, right? And so you have tons of energy, but what you're doing is you're burning your energy up. You're wasting your energy. And a lot of it has to do with the way that you think. So you waste energy, you burn energy because you're lingering in the future, or you're dwelling on the past, or somebody brings up the past. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, "Man, oh man, it's really kind of difficult for me because I get triggered by people, people in my life that if they come into the room, just their appearance triggers me because of the mistakes I made in the past, and basically that person triggers the past memory, which triggers the emotions associated to that, and you're right back in the past. And so you do waste a lot of time and burn a lot of your energy up by dwelling in the future, lingering around, trying to figure out how it's going to unfold when you have no control over it, actually. The only locus of control you have is what you want your future to look like. You can control that. And if you direct your mind properly, because your mind is an automatic goal-seeking creative mechanism, it can find its way to the destination if you let it work. You got to let it do its work. You can't jam it up by putting stress on it, by going into the future and trying to figure out how it's going to happen, or looking at the past, your current situation, and letting that bother you, because that hampers your future as well. Okay, so what we got to do is we've got to learn, unlearn, and relearn how we operate as it relates to how we use this precious gift, the 24 hours that you get, and the 16 or 18 you get to be awake. I had a call with a client of mine, entrepreneur in Dubai, and we were talking about this idea of wasting time and worrying too much. And he said something beautiful. He said, it's we're so worried day to day about achieving our goals and getting the results that when we get to the goal, we haven't even enjoyed it. Like there's no joy in achieving the goal because we're so stressed out and so anxious, so worried about getting to the goal. Because what a terrible way to live. I said, yeah, and I said, and so I read on that little piece of scripture, that little devotional from Jesus Calling. I said, the other problem is that if you're lingering in the future, you're not going to be very good at coming up with the most effective way to get to the future. So let me give you a few tips before we wrap up. And if you have questions on here, by all means, type it in. Hey, Leanne, good to see you. Joanne is here. Who else is here? Pamela. Hi, Pamela. I'm down the hall. Pamela, I live in the same building on the same floor. Hi, Pamela. I don't know if you're down the hall or maybe you're somewhere else. Annalie, good to see you here. So anyway, type in some questions if you have any. All right. So let me show you a few things that I do. And I'll explain to you why I do what I do. So in Think and Grow Rich, there's a part of the book where Napoleon Hill talks about his invisible counselors. And he would have meetings every night when he went to bed with his invisible counsel. And he started off with a small group and expanded to about 50 people that, and in his imagination, and even when he wrote in the book, he said, I feel a little reluctant writing this. People think I'm crazy, but in my imagination, I hold these board meetings, and Lincoln is there, and Emerson is there, and different people are there. Henry Ford is there. Alexander Graham Bell. He had a list of people that were at this meeting, and he'd hold these imaginary meetings every night before he went to bed in his imagination. And so I like that idea. And so here's my invisible counsel: Bob Proctor, Jesus, JFK, Don Miguel Ruiz, Gandhi, William James, Napoleon Hill, and Abraham Lincoln. Now, ladies, don't give me a hard time. There's no women on here. I don't know why. These are the first that came to my mind. That's who I started with. I'll add some more women to the board, I'm sure. Anyway, Bob Proctor, who I worked with for many years, very closely with him, and he mentored me, and he taught me a number of effective strategies to get more out of my day and more time in my day. One of the things he said, Doug, two things. One, most things get done through neglect. Okay, most things get done through neglect. And I didn't really know what he meant. What he meant is that two things. One is what I think I need to do might not even need to be done to get where I want to go. And chances are, somebody else, some person, or maybe God or the universe, they might take care of it for me. I don't even have to worry about it. So I love that idea. The other thing he taught me to do, which I'll show you in a minute, I spend more time thinking than I spend doing. I spend more time thinking than I spend doing. And so I spend a lot of time thinking about where I'm going, and just, through my invisible counsel. So I'll ask for guidance. I don't know if you can see the words on here, but I'll ask my counsel for guidance, and I'll speak to them. I'll read it here. Bob, please continue to mentor me and guide me with ideas on how to best teach and serve others. Gandhi, who I love what he did. I love his story. Gandhi, show me how to use my mind faithfully so I can get millions to coalesce into the ideas I have to help the world. Jesus, please show me your presence and guide me so I can bring more people to you. Help strengthen my faith. Mr. James, teach me your wisdom in psychology and help me make it simple for the masses to be free. Because so many people are stuck with mental problems, mental health problems, and it's because of our system that helps people address it doesn't work. So I'm constantly looking for advice from him and others on how to make this easier. And I did find a very simple cure for most of your problems. Mr. Kennedy, JFK, push me to persist. Provide your wisdom in the face of my challenges. Napoleon, share with me everything you learn from others how to control and direct my mind. Don Miguel, remind me not to take anything personally and help me see the good in others so they can see it. And Mr. Lincoln, teach me your brand of persuasiveness and commitment to my vision and ideals of a better way. So I'm having this conversation with them, and oftentimes I say, Bob, and I'll talk to him, right? And I'm having this conversation, and oftentimes I'll say, gentlemen, please, feed your ideas to Jesus, because ultimately, he's the best guide. He should be at the head of the table. I put him at the side of the table, but anyway, it's a round table. Anyway, so I use this invisible counsel idea, and I spend a lot more time thinking and asking for guidance than doing. So we're called human beings, not human doings. But that's not what we were taught. You were taught to get up, get busy, go to work, make your list, run around, rush around all over the place for the day. And by the end of the day, you're exhausted and you fall into bed dead tired. You might have to sleep in, and then you do that every single day. So why would you want to spend more time thinking and less time doing? Well, I know through learning and training, so learning from Bob and others, and then training myself to operate a different way, a better way. It didn't take very, very long. I trained myself to operate differently. I changed my MO, my modus operandi. I changed the way I approach my days and my life and my goals. And I follow, some simple rules that are in my book. And one of the things I do is I spend a few minutes each day just thinking about where I'm going. Because I know if I can just, before I get all wound up, and like once I move in action, like I'm laser focused, and I go, I'm very short and very direct, boom, 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 boom. I'm like laser focused. But before I move into that mode, and sometimes I make the mistake, I move right in that mode without doing what I'm telling you to do. So I don't do this every day. There's days where I get challenges too. Okay. But for the most part, most days, I start my day off with looking at, where am I going? What is my goal? What is my vision? How am I trying to help change the world, save people, serve people? I'm thinking about that, and I have this destination in mind. For example, one of my big goals is to change 1 million people's lives, help 1 million people clear up their mistaken identity, let go of their difficult past, and create a better life for themselves and their family. 1 million people, that's a goal. Okay. And so I think about that, I read about that, I look at, I've got everything in writing, I look at it, and I just, I usually go for a coffee down the street or go to Starbucks when I'm in New York, go to Central Park, and I just sit and I think. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to think of a better way, an easier way to get to my target, to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. And so I know that if you and I got together and we sat down, and let's say we both had the same goal and we were both going in the same direction, running the same race, I know that I would get there more easily and faster to the finish line than you would. I'd even give you a head start. It's kind of like the tortoise and the hare story, I'd give you a head start and I would still beat you at the finish line because I'd wait and I'd figure out there's got to be a better way to get there than just going off and trying to get there and wandering around aimlessly. So you might want to adopt this. So here's how I do it. I'll share this with you real quick. Leanne, I didn't know you were here, Leanne. Leanne's here. She's already said that to me when she first saw this. You still need a woman on that council. Maybe you could be the woman, Leanne. That'd be kind of cool. You're a bright, energetic, wonderful, wonderful person. All right, so let me share something else with you. So when I'm working with people to help them mind their business, I've got 5 mindset rules that I ask you to follow to mind your business. So number 1, you are the captain of your ship. Keep your mind focused on your destination. Number 2, pay attention to the horizon and navigate troubled waters as they come. Your job is just to keep your eye on the horizon and navigate around the troubles as they come. Focus on one day, one thought, one action at a time. Number 3, learn to trust the power of your mind. Remember, you won't see the entire way to the goal. Let your mind do its work. You will find your way. So just like when GPS first came out, they weren't very accurate. I remember when I first started using them, I never bought a GPS, but on my phone, when it came out, I started using the map on my phone, and it wasn't all that accurate. I didn't trust it completely, but now I think you do. I do think that app and the software has come so far. It's very, very accurate way to get to where you want to go. So you got to trust the power of your mind. Meaning you have to understand how this machine works. So you trust that it will do the work that it's supposed to do, which is you assign it a goal, and it's designed to figure out how to get there, not you. Okay, it will direct you and give you ideas. Number 4, if you do need help, you don't have to possess specialized knowledge. You don't have to know how to do something. You simply need to organize and direct specialized knowledge. So you can find somebody that knows what you don't know that you need to know, and they can do it for you. Anybody that really has built anything of any consequence big has a series of people that are advisors that advise them and guide them with knowledge that I don't possess, but they have it, and they can help me navigate and get to where I want to go much more easily. And the captain of a ship, has a second in command, has a crew, etc. You need that. You need a crew. You need a second in command. You probably need somebody like me, kind of like your co-pilot, because the way you operate and the way you're taught to operate, you probably get off track a lot. So I help navigate your troubled waters to get you where you want to go. And number 5, don't ask for the opinion of others. Okay, you got to stop asking for the opinion of others. Rely on your mastermind and infinite intelligence. So your mastermind is people that are in support of you. So my team, they're in support of what I'm trying to accomplish. My invisible counselors, they're in support of what I'm trying to accomplish. I have wonderful clients where they've gone through mistaken identity and they've reset their self-image using my book and my course and my mentoring, and they are now raving fans, and now they're out there spreading the word. right? And so they're part of my team, my mastermind. And then infinite intelligence, of course, is God's spirit. That is the most reliable source for direction. You're used to living through your five senses, and your five senses are unreliable, because the problem is your view on things that you see and hear and read, that all that information comes through your five senses. It's skewed and distorted because your self-image is skewed and distorted. And so if you rely on your five senses to get where you want to go, and you have a mistaken identity, low self-esteem, low self-confidence, if you're dealing with inner conflict, emotional conflict, if you're dealing with emotional and mental health difficulties, anxiety, depression, all that stuff, you're going to be really ineffective, you know? And so we have to operate properly, and we've got to clear out our mistaken identity, because that's what's really holding you back. And then this is kind of a little routine, 3 things. Number 1, take some time each morning to focus your mind on your goal and take a look at your plan. You do need a written plan. You don't need like a 50-page plan, but you do need your plan in writing. You need some sort of a roadmap in your hands, okay? Number 2, spend a few minutes thinking of ways to improve what you do and how you can add more value. So always think, how can I do a better job? How can I provide more service? How can I add more value to the service I offer? And when you focus on getting better and doing better, everything gets better. And then 3, focus on your goal achieving steps and pick the 6 most important things you need to do. So use this $25,000 idea to your advantage, okay? And so what I'm proposing to you is really, you've got to mind your business better. You've got to change your mind and reset your mind on how you approach your time, how much time you have, and the use of it, because you have plenty of time, loads of it. As long as you wake up each day, you're gifted with those hours for the day. And so you have a ton of time. You just got to change your view on time. You got to change how you use your time. And you're going to have to set some new policies and standards, a new MO. And in order to do that, what you've got to do first is you've got to clear up your mistaken identity, get rid of this inaccurate, unhealthy self-image opinion you have of yourself. And when you clear that out, you're way more clear. You know yourself. And then you also realize, man, oh man, was I ever led astray by other people? Then you can look to the future and where you want to go and what you like to do. When I work with people now, in the self-help world, they said, just set these big monster goals and just go out and take action. Well, it doesn't work that way. It only works that way for some, and the some that it works for, because they don't really have any hangups internally that get in their way of them taking action. But 97% of you have these hangups, these issues, this past, the way you were treated, all this stuff, and it hangs you up. And so we got to clear that out. And so I do that first with you. So through reset, we clear up the mistaken identity. Now I get a chance to talk to the real you, your authentic self, this beautiful, gifted individual with unlimited talent and ability. Now you could point your mind, go, that's what I want to do. So a lot of people I work with, what they thought they wanted, when they go through the reset, they go, I don't know why that's not what I want. That's not even who I am. So it's a lot easier to pick a goal and achieve a goal when you are really crystal clear on who you are. And then, because self-image directs our brain and our nervous system, and it guides our mind to navigate and take action and make decisions, we have to install an accurate self-image. And then you can really make things happen. I was talking to, I don't know if he's on watching, I was talking to a client, John, yesterday, and he set a goal. He's lost 47 pounds, looking great. And he basically, he followed the rules of goal achievement. Number 1 is you have to have a strong enough reason why you want. So whatever your goal is, you have to have a strong enough reason to achieve the goal. Having a goal is not enough. So you need the desire and the purpose, the reason, your raison d'etre. And his was, of course, he's getting to an age in his life where he better take care of this body if he wants to be here longer. So he made a committed decision, and he set a target, his goal weight. And so then once he hit his goal, then he came up with a plan. And the plan never comes before the goal. You pick the goal, you decide you're heading out, and then the GPS, just like your phone, when you hit go on your phone for the address you put in, it then starts to give you the plan and direction. So then he got the plan, and then he got some specialized knowledge and a mastermind. So he hired a nutrition coach and a trainer, and to hold him accountable, to educate him, to guide him, to keep him on track. And then he followed the plan. He took action. And now he eats better. He cooks. He's never really cooked for himself. Anyway, and I said to him, I said, I'd be love to have you on our Facebook group to talk about this. He said, I got to tell you, Doug, it's the reset retreat, the 45 days that did it. He said, going through that caused a huge reset, because for years he's been struggling with his goal weight and his goals, period. And so anyway, these are some of the things that are possible. And so I just want to encourage you to reframe the way you look at time. Take a look at how you use your time, and remember, you were taught to operate a certain way. You've been operating this way for a long time. It's habitual. You think it's hard to change. It's not actually that hard to change. The way you're doing it is hard because you're doing it the wrong way, and we really got to get that straight. So listen, for those of you that are now maybe somewhat convinced around the idea that I can use these gifts, these credits, my time more wisely, and if I do that, I can get way more out of life. You might go, hey, Doug, maybe I do have time to join you every day, 5 days a week for the next 6 weeks, starting in mid-November. We start November 11th, because you're wasting time every day. You could be with me for 45 minutes every day for the next 6 weeks in this reset retreat, and I'm really good at changing your mind. You'll say something or you believe something. Go, wait a minute, let me sort you out. And so you easily get off track because your belief system and your MO is so strong. Your habits are so strong, and you're locked into a way of operating. And so sometimes you need, well, not sometimes, probably all the time, you need somebody to change your mind on how you're viewing you and your use of time. So maybe you've changed your mind that maybe you can afford 45 minutes a day, because you're wasting 45 minutes a day anyway. If I hung around with you every day, 5 days a week for the next 6 weeks, I guarantee you I'd find a hell of a lot more than 45 minutes in your day that you're wasting, that's not contributing to your life in any way, shape, or form. And so we've got to change the way that we think. We've got to change the way that we operate. We've got to mind our business better by minding the way we mind our mindset. And so hopefully that has helped you. Now, I went a little bit longer. I apologize, but I think it was a good lesson. If anybody's here with some questions, let me just scroll through here and see. Donna, do you write gratitude and meditate in the morning too? I don't write gratitude. I don't really. I used to do that because I was told that's what you should do. And gratitude does attune your mind better. I just basically made gratitude a habit. I don't have to sit down and logically write out 10 things I'm grateful for. It's just become part of me. I'm filled with gratitude and thankfulness through Jesus calling every day. He keeps reminding me to thank me or thank him for all my problems. So I'm very thankful for my problems. So I've just adopted and developed a thankful, grateful attitude. It's just become part of me. It's a characteristic and it's a quality of me. I do meditate, definitely. You don't need meditation lessons. You don't have to go to meditation school. Meditating is actually it's actually quite simple. And so your mind, the Buddhists call it your monkey mind. Your monkey mind can really take you on a hell of a trip to the future, into the past, all over the place. And so we need to we have to practice clearing our mind, especially before we start our day and before we end our day. Meditation is a wonderful thing here. What did Joanne say? This reminds me of saying my granddad had, don't do today what you can leave until tomorrow. And what he was really saying was, don't go rushing into doing things. Take your time. That's exactly it. Wise advice. Most of wise advice and the wisdom that we need is in the past from other people. And generally, I'm a very wise guy because I've been struggling and striving and straining, and also going from surviving to thriving. I'm almost 61 now, so I'm very, very wise, and I'm really good at what I do. And wisdom comes from time and experience. So Granddad, he had it right, and he probably understood well, whether he knew it or not. He probably understood, how the mind actually operates. All right, listen, I want to thank you for coming on here. I'll be keeping showing up in the group here, trying to help you. You are made for more. I want to welcome you to the Made for More community. You are made for more. I know you want to stop playing small and live bigger, do more, be more, and you can. You're very, very capable, but you have a mistaken identity. You have a distorted view on yourself, and I'm here to help you clear that up. And I think it's just wrong that people struggle so much day to day. And primarily the reason you're struggling is because you're not living in the day. Future, you're looking at the past. That's where most of your time is spent, and you're just busy running around with your head cut off, just trying to make it safely through the day, or tiptoeing through life, just hoping to make it safely to death. And that's no way to live. There is a better way, and that is operating properly, one day at a time, using your mind properly, not stressing yourself out, not creating anxiety, not creating depression, not creating all these mental dis-ease. Most of you can clear yourself of that fairly easily and fairly quickly. So I'd love to help you. Keep coming back here. I'll be here. If you want to learn more about this reset retreat, have a chat with somebody on my team or me, and I'll explain to you how it works. And you get into that. If I can get my hands on you for the next 6 weeks, you will see a rapid transformation. You go to my website and you can watch a couple of videos of people that have been through it. And so I encourage you to check that out. All right, good. Well, listen, thank you everybody for listening in. Again, if you're watching the replay, I hope you chimed in throughout. If you have questions, by all means, drop them in the comments here, post it, send us a DM, send me a DM, whatever. I'm here to do the best I can to help you and guide you, because you are made for more. All right, have a great day, everybody. Thank you.